From AccuWeather.com, this is AccuWeather Daily, a brief host-read article. It's weather news in a nutshell. Well, the final week of January could bring another disruptive bout of wintry weather, including the chance for a new storm. Now, this comes on the heels of a massive winter storm that spread ice across the south, over a foot of snow in the north, and left more than 1 million people without power. Now, the cold will be extreme for most of the eastern half of the country. Temperatures for locations in the Ohio Valley, the Northeast, and the Midwest are forecast to stay below freezing for the rest of the week. Even in Texas, the Mississippi River Valley, and the Southeast, temperatures are expected to dip below freezing at night. The cold that settled in across the south and the east this week will help set the stage for the risk of wintry weather throughout the week and the weekend, including another potential winter storm. AccuWeather's Paul Pastelok said that late this week, a storm is expected to strengthen along a stalled front near the Gulf Coast. This will bring the opportunity for rain and some wintry precipitation for the southeast. As early as Friday, precipitation could begin along the Gulf Coast. Rain is most likely south of Interstate 10 from Louisiana to Florida. Depending on exactly when the storm strengthens, snow could mix with rain from Interstate 10 northward across parts of Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and Georgia. Some of these areas were already hit by snow and ice from the last storm, but early indications are that the most intense precipitation would largely miss the area, with widespread power outages farther north. As the storm moves eastward late Friday through Saturday, precipitation is expected to move north as well, bringing rain to Florida and potentially wintry weather to the Carolinas. Pastelok said that how fast the storm strengthens will be a determining factor in the final track of the storm over the weekend and whether or not it moves up the east coast. If the storm is weaker or takes longer to strengthen, it will be more likely to ride along the Gulf Coast and move farther out over the Atlantic before moving northward. In that scenario, some snow would be most likely in parts of the Carolinas and Georgia, and widespread heavy snow would be much less likely in the Northeast and for most areas in the Southeast. It's not out of the question that the storm would turn northward too late, keeping it dry across all of the Northeast. Conversely, a stronger storm is more likely to turn northward sooner, increasing the risk of snow across the entire eastern seaboard. The rapidly strengthening storm could turn into a nor'easter and bring a risk of more widespread heavy snow from the mid-Atlantic to New England, with stronger winds than the previous storm, especially along the coast. A storm that is exceptionally quick to strengthen could track far enough west to bring significant snow to the Appalachians from Georgia and North Carolina to Pennsylvania, New York, and New England. AccuWeather's Alex Sosnowski said that even if a more moderate storm unfolds and tracks within a couple of hundred miles of the mid-Atlantic and New England coasts this weekend, increasing winds from the northeast and the north will raise seas and the likelihood of coastal flooding. Now, how intense and close the storm tracks will determine the strength of the winds and severity of coastal flooding and beach erosion from North Carolina to Massachusetts and Maine. If a bomb cyclone were to unfold and track close in, moderate to major coastal flooding could occur. Now, it is important to note, in the absence of an intense nor'easter or blizzard along the Atlantic coast, even a quick-moving, weak storm that produces a coating to a couple of inches of snow combined with the cold conditions in parts of Georgia, the Carolinas, and Virginia could be very problematic. A reinforced wave of cold air is likely to follow this storm, keeping temperatures locked well below the historical average for the first couple of weeks of February. Sub-freezing temperatures will dive as far south as central Florida. Well, Groundhog Day is almost here, and Punxsutawney Phil will soon emerge from his burrow in central Pennsylvania to look for his shadow, a sign, legend says, of more winter, or possibly an early spring. AccuWeather's Chad Merrill said historically, Phil sees his shadow and therefore predicts 6 more weeks of winter 84% of the time. This year, statistics and the upcoming weather pattern will work in tandem and favor 6 more weeks of winter, so Many are predicting that Phil and other regional groundhogs will see their shadows on February 2nd. People heading to see Phil make his forecast on Monday morning will need to bundle up, though, with a temperature within a few degrees of zero predicted. No matter what Phil determines on Monday, AccuWeather forecasters say that a frigid February is likely for the eastern half of the nation. Pastelok said that the polar vortex could unleash another surge of bitterly cold air across the central and eastern U.S. around the middle of February. That will be accompanied by chances for more snow. Meanwhile, warmth will be widespread across the western half of the country throughout most of the month. That's all for now. You can find more regional forecasts and science-based articles at AccuWeather.com, and for your local forecast at your fingertips, download the AccuWeather app. Enjoy the rest of your day. Be safe. I'll be back tomorrow with more from AccuWeather.